Hello everyone. I wish you a happy Thursday. Again, we are doing the cooking show with Dr. PJ OLASJI. I hope you had a wonderful morning and have a blessed afternoon. So today what we're going to make, I want to make two things. We want to make us some salmon croquettes, but I also want to make some gravy. And one of the things I want to show you one day is how to make stuffed grits. And I started doing stuffed grits when I was living in DC and I was married. I had to come up with meals for my husband. And everybody thought that was a joke. But guess what? It's being sold in the restaurants in Houston now. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but not today. Today we're going to do the salmon. I want to make a gravy. And I know you're probably saying, nobody makes salmon like this. My grandmama used to make it. So what we're going to do is make a roux. So I've got a little bit of oil in this pan, and this is just a little bit of flour because we want it to be thick. I've got onions. These are my seasonings, salt and pepper and a little bit of paprika. And then I got 2 cans of salmon. This is canned salmon. Easy meal, quick meal that you can do for your kids. You can serve it with rice or you can serve it with grits, okay? But today, we're going to make our roux. You know, you just put a little bit of flour in it, right? And then you just stir it. Cook the little flour taste out a little bit. And once it starts browning a little bit, then you add your water to it. And I don't want to smoke up the kitchen because I've got something else I want to do, so I could turn the fan on, but then it's going to make too much noise for you, okay? So we're letting the flour cook out a little bit, and then we're going to add the water to it. My mom always tell me that I make gravy strangely. And I said, I've always made it like this. And she'll tell me, but I didn't teach you to make it like that. And then we're going to add our water to it. And that's about 3 cups of water because I'm making a little bit more than usual. Because I had a couple of people that already knew I was doing this, so they put in their order for some of this food. Okay, now what I want to do is add our salmon, and this is 2 cans, 2 16-ounce cans of salmon. We're just going to dump that in. You're going to like this. We're going to add, this is 4 links of Roger Wood spicy smoked sausage. I'm going to add that to it. I love a lot of onions. I think I say that on every show. So we're going to put the onions in there and let it cook down, and then we'll add our seasoning to it. So, right, salt and some pepper, and then we also have some paprika in it. And it's already boiling. And I'm gonna set this to the side because I wanna do something else. Now you can serve this with rice, you can serve it with grits. Sometimes I just eat it by itself. And if your gravy is not as brown as it could, how many of y'all know about Kitchen Bouquet? Just get you a browning agent and put a little bit more brown to it. And then you won't have to sit there and burn up the pot. I try my best not to burn the pot. Nice and brown. And that's all you have to do. Then you let it cook until you know the smoked sausage is cooked through. Because remember now, the salmon is not going to take that long. What I want to do is to move this to the other side because I want to make one more thing. Oh, here go my mittens.
I didn't move this out of the way.
So I'm going to move this pan over. We're going to use this pan, and then I'm going to move the pot over here. So this will be cooking while I'm doing whatever else I want to do. And that's making the salmon croquettes, okay? All right. So I'm gonna move these out of the way. And we're going to make the croquettes. This again, 2 cans of salmon. I like onions in mine, okay? And these are the onions I've already chopped up. A little bit of flour just to hold it together. And then I've got some eggs and my seasoning. Okay? All right. Let me get a fork, so I want to mash this up a little bit. Now, we have a senior home, I think I told you, for the church. So when we do this for the senior home, I put a little bit of oatmeal in it. They don't know it's oatmeal, but I do. Some people sit down and try to pick the little white bones out, but the bones are softer than the meat, so that's optional. If you just feel like you must do that, then you can go on and do it, but that's not something that I'm going to do. I'm gonna put the pan on to start getting hot because I want it to be ready. We're gonna fry those. I'm using 2 eggs because I had 2 cans and I want to be able to hold it together. This is our seasoning. All right, I'm gonna move some stuff over. And then you're just gonna mix it together. I did save some of the juice off this just in case I need it. But if we don't need it, then you know we can put it in with the other pot with the gravy in it. And my sous chef today is Miss Anovia. She's also taping. She said we're gonna have grits. So I told her, well, if we are having grits, you're cooking it. So she's already put the grits on. And you may say, I don't like that much onions. But you have to remember now, I just love onions. A lot of people don't. And you want to make sure it's a good consistency, but you don't want it to fall apart. So what I will do, and you're going to have to use your hand for this, so if you don't want your hands to get dirty, please run and get some gloves. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour just to make sure it's the right consistency. Please don't put too much salt in seafood because a lot of times the food already has enough sodium in it and you don't have to put a lot in there. Isn't that nice? Just a little bit more. Now I've got my oil getting hot already. All right. And that's the mixture. Now they don't have to be pretty patties, so don't sit there saying, now what did she do and how much did she make? So if you make them small, especially if you have kids, you can make them small. If I was just cooking for myself, I would probably make a bunch of large ones. I'm gonna put it in the oil. Because I'm not planning on playing with it, I'm gonna let it go. You said that one's gonna cook faster. Well, you just have to make your patties fast. How about that? They'll probably say, why she put so much onions in it? I love onions. Now I like mine to be crispy on the outside, nice and moist on the inside. And I know sometimes people just leave it in there for a second because they don't want it to be crispy. I like it crispy. And I don't want to crowd the pan too much, so I'm just going to put probably 1 or 2 more in there. You're sizzling. This is the easiest dinner you can do, especially if you're a working mom and your husband is getting ready to come home and the kids are outside playing. By the time they come in, it'll be wonderful. And we just let it get brown. Remember now, I like the onion, so I don't need to cook it so long, but you want it to get brown and have a nice little crust on the outside. Let me check on the gravy over here and give it a little quick stir. That's boiling. Turn it down just a little bit. Nice and thick brown gravy. Isn't that wonderful? I just love it. I'm going to turn that down. Now, by now, most people will be taking theirs out. Remember, it's got to get a nice little crust on the bottom. So what we're going to do, we're going to have grits with this. And you're gonna put your gravy and sausage on top of the grits and serve the patties to a side. Sometimes I do rice. So you can do rice if your kids like rice, but I don't always want rice. I was thinking about something. I think usually when I do the cooking show, I try to give you a healthy challenge, so I didn't come up with one. But next time, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to do a healthy challenge and give you some alternative stuff. Remember, we did nothing but desserts when we first started. And I hope you tried it with your children. But just do that maybe about once every 2 months. Because you don't want a whole bunch of sweets all over the house. And then you just flip it over. Now the egg and the flour is to hold it together, so it won't be scrambled. That's nice and that's all.